better, but we're up there with them.
David versus Goliath matchup for tonight, a Victoria's Secret versus Cunninghams. There's A. Martin, leader of the team Cunninghams, talking to us the beginning of this season. And we always like to talk about Commander Jay. We want to hear what you guys have to say, though, when it comes to the Cunninghams Victoria's Secret. Go ahead and send us a tweet on Twitter at WGLNA, Facebook.com/WGLNA, and use that hashtag WGLNA so we can find your tweets and put them up on the broadcast.
All right, and then the question of the day is especially relevant for the Cunninghams versus Victoria's Secret. Who will break the Northwest Himmelsdorf defense today? The first map for Cunningham's Victoria's Secret will be Himmelsdorf. So the answer coming soon.
All right, let us know. Send us your tweets and post on Facebook. Waiting for confirmation that our two team reps are ready on Face-Off, and they are ready. So with that, gentlemen, we bid you a good evening and welcome to the Face-Off.
Yo.
All right, let's start with the Cunninghams. Hey, Martin, what happened against I Love Lamp, man? What happened?
Honestly, we lost the game in the first two matches our first two games because we were just a little late on both our Himmelsdorf attacks, and then it went to tiebreaker, and we were not prepared for Muravanka. So yeah, I mean they caught us. They used some unconventional lineups on Himmelsdorf, and on steps too. They countered the meta of the meta of the meta because they ran what I would say is a poor strat at first, and we wrecked it in a matter of seconds. And so they changed up a tank, and we thought they were going to do something a little more standard. And so we cheated a little, and they ran the exact same thing, which caught us. So I guess it's not a poor strat, but on defense, I thought it was a little risky because we took 1 out of 2 and should have taken 2 out of 2. But
yeah, it seems like when you guys are thrown real curveballs, like the kind that you saw in the tiebreaker, which was that T69, 2 of them, 3 T32s, wasn't it? A Pershing and then a RU251, or
that wasn't about it being a curveball. That was about so Jay hadn't been to any of our Muravanka practices, which was bad, and we spent more time playing the other side of the map, so we just weren't prepared. It wasn't so much as their lineup being that odd.
All right. Well, we don't mean to kind of declare, oh my gosh, you lost, what happened, but it was a neat little storyline to see what happened. So.
No, and they played solid too. Like
right.
It wasn't like we completely gave it to them. They had some good play, and that's the way it goes sometimes.
That's the way it goes sometimes. Let's check in with Victoria's Secret. We have Rummy standing by with a little bit of a social media sign. What's up, Rummy?
What's up?
Tell me what's going on with your team moving into this matchup against the Cunninghams. This is going to be quite the fight once again for Victoria's Secret.
The first rule of Shaft Club is not to talk about it.
And how does somebody join this club?
Oh, it's very prestigious. It's really hard to get in.
I think you just broke the first rule.
Oh.
Well, hey.
Turning on the heads. Turning on the heads.
Yeah, I think you need to work on those rules, man.
Yeah. All right, Rummy. Do you play a little bit of the guitar? I see one in the background.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right on, man. Well, if you guys make it to playoffs, I'll bring my guitar. We can riff a little bit. But that's going to be a tough road for you guys. Overall, this matchup is big for both of you. Cunningham's trying to come back from a loss. Victoria's Secret trying to get back on track. Rummy, any words for your opponent before we start?
I think Cunninghams is a pretty good team. You know, we'll try. I mean, you know.
Hey, that's all good. We can do. That's all Randall and I do.
I honestly feel like we're a lot better than our record shows.
Yeah.
Obviously, we've had some problems, and I mean, 3 of our first 4 matches were, you know, 3 of the top teams in the league right now. So.
All right. Well, with any type of obstacles, when you're able to work through it, you turn out better. After Victoria's Secret had some obstacles last season, some obstacles this season as well, but staying in the league and fighting your way through it is the best anybody can ever ask for. Hey, Martin, any words to say to your opponents before we start?
Just whatever he said back at him. Sorry, I didn't really catch it.
All right, go ahead and try to light your candle. Best of luck to both of you gentlemen. We'll see you on the battlefield.
All right, see it.
So it's do or do not.
It's do or do not. There is no try.
There is no try.
There is no try.
Trying is saying I'm going to try is one of those things that feels off.
Yeah, well, you can't have a defeatist attitude as well moving into a battle, but it's tough. Victoria's Secret's had some roster issues, but besides the case, you can't be in a mentality of, oh man, we'd be doing so much better if we had this person, or oh man, we'd be doing so much better if we had this person. You don't. You move on. You do the best that you can with the people that you got.
Yeah.
And it's a tough road for a lot of these teams, not just Victoria's Secret that are towards the bottom of the standings, but there's still hope yet. We've seen it in the past, and that's why we're showing this matchup, Cunninghams versus Victoria's Secret tonight. As always, make sure to place your bets at the beginning of every battle. Real simple. Ask the people in chat. They'll let you know how it's done. Badco or moderator standing by as well. And to check the leaderboards, go to WGLConnect.com. A nice little prize to some of our top performers tonight. Randall, I mean, the biggest storyline for these two teams is this David versus Goliath matchup.
It really is. Like, we're probably going to hammer this in the whole time.
Yeah, and I don't mean to say that Victoria's Secret is of small stature and all the Cunninghams are large when it comes to performance per se. It's the current standings, and if it was different, if Victoria's Secret was in second place and Cunninghams was in 14th, still be David versus Goliath matchup.
I thought you were going to go social justice on me and be like, look, you don't have to be tall to be Goliath. You can be 5'4". It doesn't matter.
No. I
thought that's where you're going with it at first.
The reason I present it this way is I still see a lot of fire in Victoria's Secret because of that fun gaming matchup. The uniqueness to that strategy. I've still never seen anything like it. And even though I bring it up so many times with this team, it is that unique and that effective and that well-planned strategy against a specific team. They played their game. That was the best game to play against Fun Gaming at that time.
At the time.
But this is coming full circle now.
Okay.
Teams change, right? Every single match changes a team. And unfortunately, I think Victoria's Secret has not had that consistency of rosters. And with the external things they deal with outside of the battlefield, it's affecting them, at least what's happening on the battlefield itself.
Maybe. That's a big maybe. I don't think that with a roster like Victoria's Secret has right now, they can stand up like Cunninghams, though. This is such a well-experienced team. Cunninghams, Victoria's Secret has every disadvantage right now. And when it starts on Himmelsdorf, I think the Cunninghams, coming off of their match against I Love Lamp, are going to be better for the loss. And I think they're going to stonewall Victoria's Secret here.
All right. Well, match number 3 is about to begin between the Cunninghams and Victoria's Secret. The first battle will take place on Himmelsdorf. What do we have for tanks?
All right. We have 3 5100s, 2 IS3s, and 2 ISs for the Cunninghams. Victoria's Secret, 3 5100s, KV5, 2 Waffles, and a T37.
And here we go. Countdown has finished. Let's go ahead and take a look at the opening runs for both these teams. I will be following the blue team. That's Victoria's Secret. Red team will be Cunninghams.
And the opening moves from the Cunninghams, we've got Dodoma, Germ, going up to the hill. Dodoma in a 5100, Germ in a 5100 as well. So between the two of them, they have the ability to fire out to the west, where Disruption currently is. Down below, we're going to have the ISs, the IS3s, and Trireme in support. That group of 5 represents the Cunninghams' just absolutely destructive capabilities. The ability for the Cunninghams to wipe a tank off the battlefield in one volley. Now, Victoria's Secret, hit points are weird, man. They've got these Waffles with like 1,100,
yeah,
right? They've got this KV5 as if they're kind of trying to make up for it, you know? And then, it's strange. And then Disruption in a T37 feels so... It feels like a waste of a slot sometimes for a T37, especially when you've got a slow-moving lineup like this, because Victoria's Secret isn't going to be able to pull amazing flanks with every tank in their group, right? They're going to be able to pull those flanks with 5100s, who may or may not be available to do that. The Waffles... do you want to throw them out on a flank? I mean, it could be good, but they're so fragile. They're so easy to just wipe out in 2 seconds. and if you touch it, and you accidentally press too hard on the armor with your finger, you could dent it and deal like 50 damage.
Oh, no.
I know.
That's why you got to use spit shine buffering when you clean the armor.
Very gentle.
Very gentle.
Very like some.
Not elbow grease.
No, and not even steel wool. You have to just bring a nice, soft, high thread count cloth to clean it.
Got it.
I mean, it is that.
Got to even be careful of the water. Sometimes hard water could damage it.
You're right. You're right.
Well.
If it's not the right pH, you could just melt it.
Northwest corner is going to be the choice of defense for Victoria's Secret, the most common choice of defense for the defending teams on this map, as we talked about earlier on in the pregame show. Disruption got lit up earlier. Most of his health is gone, and he's dead. There he goes.
Most of his health is gone. Never mind.
First tank down.
So he crosses in the open. There's no real support for him. What was that T-32 trying to accomplish, right? It is...
I mean T-37.
Oh, sorry. You're right. T-37. Excuse me.
That's okay.
All right. So what is he trying to accomplish? What are the goals of that T-32? It's 37. Sorry. Like, just play the game for me real quick.
Yeah, the goal is to scout, to open up what's happening information-wise at the beginning of the battle, and then after that, trying to get behind the enemy to figure out what their patterns are, their plan of attack, their approach, who's with who's leading the charge, how do we get behind them, should we stay in this position, what am I doing in this T-37, what time is it, I'm hungry.
Yes.
I need to call my mom. I haven't talked to her in 2 weeks. I mean, that's what I would think if I'm in a T-37.
Exactly. Those last ones especially so, because always call your mother. I mean, she took care of you from birth.
Yep.
Seriously.
Yep. All right. He is still landing one shot earlier on towards ICJ. And standstill coming from Cunningham's Victoria's Secret still.
Yeah, and this is going to be just the Cunninghams using the time to figure out their approach. Right? So we've got Comps moving in close. Is he going to stop? Oh, apparently not.
Oh, Comps going to move across and gets hit.
1,284.
Oh, man. Too good. Loved that. But Empro getting lit up from across the way.
Well, that was absurd. I thought Comps was going to stop for a second. Apparently, that's not a good idea.
No, not at all.
In his mind, but wow, he must regret that.
But look at the fire coming back from Militant 83 towards the 5100 here.
And now Rummy moving in on a flank. He's attempting to go south, but A. Martin is there, and Baguk. Between the two of them.
Some dude for a big shot, 889. That TD holding against the movement of the Cunninghams here. And look at the hit points. In favor of Victoria's Secret briefly. Oh.
Not anymore. Stop jinxing him, Josh.
So, Rummy took a hit, and they lost another tanker.
Yeah. Now their tank's down. Without Disruption and Empro, you have less guns on the battlefield.
And another shot and another kill.
Yeah.
And for those of you asking the question of the day, who can break the Northwest position, Cunningham's may be that team tonight. A. Martin now pushing in. Oh, nice shot from Too Good. And Too Good as a dead driver.
Ouch.
But he's able to use a med kit. Get that driver back on course.
A. Martin should be able to take him down with the next shot. Unless it looks like some dude is also in the area. 245, 290?
Oh, returning fire here. Some dude gets hit twice, and now they take down a Cunningham tank. A. Martin's the first to fall.
That was such a strange hit. 290. And then I thought that was some dude firing, which is so strange. It must have been HE.
Oh, there's Trireme. Nice shot. 18 seconds on that flag cap. Another kill for the Cunninghams. 3 tanks remain for Victoria's Secret.
And
they're
now,
besieged on both sides here.
And now a desperate push. Carefree, some dude, all moving to the east. And there goes one more from Victoria's Secret. They are going to be able to take down Comps. Militant staying alive for now. Shots fired, not taking down Germ or Baguk.
Now Germ actually took a track hit from that tank destroyer. And Cunninghams take battle number 1 as the attackers breaking through that northwest corner. But how do they do it?
How?
Slow, methodical, and Comps barely staying alive. That's how they did it.
I think it was a lineup from Victoria's Secret that was the kind that could beat the Cunninghams. But after the I Love Lamp match, after running into the lineup that they saw there, they're prepared now for those strange tanks, those bringing 2 Waffentragers for some reason because they have no armor and no hit points. Bringing a T-37 as well, no armor, no hit points. And it's not the most optimal. You're seeing the most optimal in the game world of tanks at Tier 8 by bringing 5100s, IS-3s, and you can bring ISs, T-29s, Tigers. I don't actually care because they're all just fine at Tier 7.
Yeah.
You just need heavy tanks, and you need to get to your opponent, and you just smash them. You need to bring as many hit points and as much armor as possible.
Would you agree at least one Waffentrager is a possibility?
Fine.
2 is overkill for a tank destroyer choice.
One is fine. I saw an ISU 152 used the other day on the EU League. I think Ollie and Lauren noticed it pretty well then, which was that it was a strange choice, and that the only time it was ever brought, I think, was in one of our shootouts seasons and seasons ago. It doesn't work. So most tank destroyers, there's a reason they don't fit on most strategies, and you cannot bring them in mass. They don't have the armor, they don't have the hit points, or perhaps they don't have the firepower. They lack in some area, which is so crucial for success that a heavy tank is able to bring and able to be flexible enough.
Mobility, firepower, and armor, the 3 pillars of World of Tanks, and each of these tanks adds a certain value to each of those, and the Waffentrager does not have significant amount of armor, but it does have significant firepower to try to make up for it. Battle number 2, Victoria's Secret and the Cunninghams currently are up 1-0. What do we have for tanks?
We have 3 5100s, 2 IS-3s, 2 ISs on the side of the Cunninghams. Solid lineup. It's a good one. That's what I agree with. Now, Victoria's Secret is 3 5100s and IS-3. No KV-5 here today. 2 Waffentragers and a T-37. So where are the hit points in this? The hit points are all in that IS-3. And the 5100s don't have really much armor. They don't have much hit points. The Waffles don't have much armor or hit points. T-37 don't have much armor or hit points. So there's not a whole lot that's going to take a beating on Victoria's Secret. Their only defense is the ability to hit very hard.
And Disruption tries to open a shot. Whoa, a little close. A little close for Disruption. He's going to back out of there. He's able to try to land a shot against the tanks moving up Tank Alley. Oof, I'd be scared of T-37 as well.
Just running around on a city map with a light tank is scary. I mean, long, straight corridors, no bushes, no soft cover, and no distances really far enough for you to spot enemies where they're not going to spot you back. So the advantages of a T-37 are so minimal next to, I think, a different lineup. They can make it work, but Disruption has to get on the flanks, and that requires a number of conditions to be met, mostly that your opponent leaves an opening and then takes that risk. But if an opponent knows there's a T-37, they can play around that. They can decide, I'm not going to spread out too much, I'm not going to leave people alone with long corridors behind them, something like that, because that's where the T-37 will take advantage. Disruption, though, isn't taking any huge risks, as you can notice. He's playing the scout game to the south on the open tracks area, where the Cunninghams probably won't go anyway. So Disruption can go east, maybe, right now. That's not a bad plan. Begin flanking, try and get a little bit of damage here and there. They need to weaken the IS.
Oh, big shot from Too Good into comps for 689. Peeks around a corner and gets punished for it. Too Good's going to fall back a little bit.
Okay, that counts. All right, that'll work.
Well, I liked his positioning because he was trying to get away from that northwest corner and open up at least one of those shots against the Cunninghams, unexpectedly to the Cunninghams, and it worked, but it can't work twice.
I would wait on saying that.
Well, not in the same position.
I mean, I would still wait. Watch comps go back.
Okay.
Just wait. I almost want to just bet on it, that they'll go back to almost the same position and something similar is going to happen again.
Well, Too Good's going to leave that position, though.
Just does a little bit north of their count.
Oh, firing back. Some dude hits Dodoma for 313, it looks like. Well, it might have been ICJ. Another shot towards Commander J does not penetrate. Dodoma gets hit for 272. More firing coming from the 5100s. Dodoma is low.
Taking a lot of hits.
Fight.
And you have to give it to Victoria's Secret. Emperor made solid hits. Those were respectable connections on Dodoma. He was able to deal a good half of his hit points just to make him get into that position.
Trireme takes a hit for 315.
And now the T-37, yes, Disruption. He's in the backfield now. Trireme has to pick a direction, and he decides forward, which...
And he's dead.
Yeah, that ended up not working out for him there.
Well, Cobbs and A. Martin are holding the line here, but they're going to get surrounded by the blue team, by Victoria's Secret. And there goes Cobbs. A. Martin is on his own. That's 2 tanks down for Cunninghams. Victoria's Secret have all their tanks still left alive.
A. Martin doesn't have many options. Looking towards the T-37, I think the Cunninghams really just sat around, didn't get what they needed to get done.
A. Martin's going to fall back. Disruption still firing. Oh, big shot from Too Good through this window right here. Almost destroys A. Martin right through that section. And A. Martin's going to have to leave. Oh, that was huge.
And we're looking at a strange situation. The Victoria's Secret making the right call, the Cunninghams hesitating like this. And while Commander J is getting the kill right there with Beguk and Dodoma, the hit points for Victoria's Secret are so much higher, and their ability to just wipe a tank off the map.
Well, especially when Too Good is landing these shots, 724 damage in the last hit against Militant 83. And look at this surround. Disruption's moving in. He could get the kill, and he does.
All right. He's making the right choices right there. He got on the flank this whole time. We're going to have to look at the damage he was able to rack up this whole battle.
Too Good firing back towards Beguk. Could not connect. He gets hit, though. He's low. 2 minutes, 7 seconds. Victoria's Secret to still hold the line here.
It looks like 462 damage so far for Disruption, with 7 hits out of 12 shots fired. So he is dealing a decent amount of damage. T-37 doesn't hit very hard. It just, the damage racks up, and the critical chances are rather high with the volume of shells he's outputting.
Well, amount of tanks still left alive for the Cunninghams. 3. 5 left alive for Victoria's Secret. But low on hit points
and with
some of them.
With 1 minute and 30 seconds, the damage potential of Commander J. Beguk and Dodoma is not enough.
Look at this setup. Look at Dodoma's spot right now in that top west corner and how they're forcing the tanks to come to that flag cap. Dodoma, if he is hidden long enough, could be devastating to these tanks pushing in now.
Could be. It's about timing. If he waits too long, though,
yeah,
it'll waste everything. Like if he's not there soon, if he doesn't recognize that he has to push now, then we're going to be looking at a very different situation in which Dodoma becomes irrelevant to the outcome of this fight.
Yeah,
and it's already happening.
It's already happening. I mean, they cleaned him up so quickly here. Dodoma with 101 hit points. He falls, and Victoria's Secret ties up the series 1-1 with a successful defense against the Cunninghams. I need to take a look at the stats of Too Good and how many shots he was able to land here.
I'll get on that right now. So 5 shells fired, and he's 3 for 3, and he does 2,111 hit points of damage. No kills, by the way, which means highly efficient use of the Waffentrager there. Instead, you have the kills going to 5100s and to Disruption, which is exactly where they belong. Exactly as they should. Now, notice some dude fires 3 times, doesn't get a single hit. Well, he does get a hit. It bounces, but he doesn't get a kill or any damage.
Yeah.
So I think that in this battle, Cunningham's made the huge mistake. You watched, who was it right at the beginning? Jump out, was that Comps?
Yes.
Yeah.
It wasn't Comps. Comps had peeked around the corner.
Because he took like half of his health damage, right?
Yeah, half his health. But it was another tank across the open section.
That was a 5100 trireme.
Yeah. Yeah, he got lit up real bad. And now, is this the mentality of the Cunninghams underestimating their opponent after battle 1, or is it sloppy mistakes?
You could be right with that underestimating, because when you look at Victoria's Secret when you're the Cunninghams, and you have every reason to think you're going to win, right? You have every reason to approach this match and say, I am a better team, and I should win this.
Mm-hmm.
But that could lead to those unhealthy thoughts, that overestimating yourself. Because if you're in the Gold League, there's a reason you're here. Victoria's Secret may not be performing very well relative to everyone else, but I mean, they'll still take a battle off of you if you don't respect them.
The classic story of David versus Goliath, it was pride that Goliath was sent forth as a champion and looked at David and laughed, and then got hit in the head with a stone that his head cut off.
Huh.
So...
Which, that's stories, parallels.
Allegories. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's why we love being storytellers, Randall. There's a lesson in it. There's even a lesson in World of Tanks, which is why you're watching, to watch some tanks blow up, see some teams beat each other, and also to have some fun. Thanks for joining us as we continue into our third match tonight in battle number 3. Cunninghams of Victoria's Secret currently tied 1-1. What do we have for tanks, Randall?
All right, so taking a look, 3 5100s, 2 IS-3s, a KV-3, T-29 for the side of the Cunninghams, and then Victoria's Secret with 3 5100s, 2 IS-3s, a Waffentrager, and T-37. And it looks like I'm being told we have a question from Twitter. It's Radishin is asking, just watching the stream, great job. Question, how important is tank matchups composition? Is there a standard build? The answer to that is yes. There is a standard build. Generally, most teams will go for 3 IS-3s and 2 5100s, or they'll just bring 3 5100s, 2 IS-3s. Those tanks being some of the most flexible and capable tanks in any situation on a city map. Now, I'm just talking Himmelsdorf. For every map, there are tanks well suited for it, of course, right, Josh?
There are, and when you have that standard build of what's the best tank to bring, you can have a little bit of deviation, a little bit of meta switching between these different teams when you bring a slightly different lineup. And that different lineup can still be the same role, right? Like, it could still fill kind of that heavy tank role. Instead of bringing an IS-3, bring a 110 or an IS-6.
That's where you start to get in that crazy area, right? Where
yeah.
you start changing things up to fit your style. But until that point, it seems most logical to go with the things that work, because they're not broken. It's not something you need to fix. Bringing IS-3s and 5100s has always been consistently performing. Their 5100s bring damage. They have enough hit points to the point where they can take a hit. They don't have armor, but they've got enough hit points. They can run away. They can shrug off a few hits there. But when you start to get away from that, you find tanks that just don't work as well together, because the synergy of an IS-3 and a 5100 is phenomenal. You put them together, and you've got something that hits hard, and then something that follows that up with consistent damage. And then once that consistent damage, burst damage, is gone, and he's reloading, the IS-3 is still there to help his battle buddy out.
Yeah. Great question. Thanks for the question.
Yeah.
And if anybody else has questions, send them to us on Twitter at WGLNA or over on Facebook at facebook.com/WGLNA. Always appreciate it. Use that hashtag too on Twitter. It's easier for us to find those tweets and able to answer those questions. Looking at the initial push coming from Victoria's Secret, vying for the eastern side. Typical for a lot of these teams, trying to stay away from that northwest corner first, then sending up an attack run. Shot fired from long range coming from the Waffentrager. Does not hit comps though.
Yeah, all I heard was it hit some concrete and cobblestone.
Hey, that concrete could have been calling it out though, you know. Some dude wanted to prove a point.
Don't talk about my tank.
Don't talk bad about my Waffentrager. Fires again, doesn't connect.
Nope.
Negative. Well, this could be a pattern of
He should connect eventually
suppressing fire.
if comps is out at the wrong time.
Fire back to some dude.
Is that blind fire he's just putting out? Oh, the timing. Comps inches out just in time. And he's reverse angled here. So he puts his side armor exposed, which has spaced armor in there and tracks, which reduce penetration of many shells. You saw that work to Comp's advantage, where it hits track, loses penetration, and then has to go against a well-angled piece of armor. Every reason for it to bounce. Some dude can't pen unless firing HE or something. Or if he gets maybe a little lucky shot out.
Shot out?
Nope.
No. Well, that was fun.
I think Comps is going to begin timing this. If some dude stays there, which he hasn't now, but if he had stayed there, Comps was going to start zeroing in the most logical position for that Waffentrager to be. Begin putting out blind return fire, which gets incredibly meta at that point. I mean, you're getting levels on levels on levels of thought against each other when you can't even see your opponent.
Some dude now creeping closer to the flag cap. 3 minutes and 5 seconds left on the battle clock.
And this is going to be a strong south attack from Victoria's Secret. They're going to put a heavy emphasis on the southern portion of the defense in the northwest to try and break through. Disruption also in the southwest towards the cap. He may cap pressure while this goes on, which could prove fruitful if the Cunninghams are occupied enough with the rest of Victoria's Secret. And then with that Waffentrager up in the north, the northeast of the cap right now in Alpha 7-8, that's a position where we could see him come in, and that's some dude. He could deal some serious damage if left to his own devices.
Yeah, he can. He's staying hidden for this amount of time, and now he's creeping closer and closer to where he is spotted, and that's going to be the trigger. Coming around the corner, Too Good leads the charge, but Guck hit for 767. He'll be the first target to fall here, but Cunninghams will not go down easy. As they continue to defend in this corner, they fire back towards Too Good and Rummy. And one connection on Commander J and a bounce off Militant. Another bounce off Commander J. Another bounce.
3.
Oh no, track shot. Commander J says, get on my level. He's looking for an opening.
Another one. He just bounced another shell. This is amazing.
And they continue to fire towards the impenetrable Commander J. Rummy now out of shots, going to have to pull back along with Icy. And more bounce shots now coming towards Victoria's Secret. Too Good is low, 348 in that last hit.
And they're going to switch out. Too Good backing up, Carefree moving forward. Dodoma, remember, he is still in the north train station. He's going to be able to put pressure on Disruption, maybe even come in as a flank to clean up.
And there's a shot against Commander J. Carefree's telling his team he's not a god, he bleeds. We can kill it. Moving back is Victoria's Secret towards the courtyard. They don't have time. They don't have time to set up another attack run. They have to push in now with 1 minute and 7 seconds. Cunninghams has plenty of time to hold this.
And now Dodoma seems to have found Disruption. Connection for 271, and the follow-up gets the kill. So there goes Disruption, and their ability to get some flanks and distraction. Scouting as well is down for them. Victoria's Secret has to choose forward. They don't really have
There
a
is
reason
no choice.
Yeah, there's no
forward or die. Forward or lose, and this is the toughest choice to make as you are going up against a team like the Cunninghams in this northwest corner. But they're able to pepper a little bit of Militant 83 with a little, hey, how you doing, peeking around that corner. And here's a push coming from Carefree in the front with the most HP in the IS-3s at least. And right behind him, Zen Pro. And they take down Commander J. Germ could be next.
Oh, some dude fails to connect, and now A. Martin's going to be able to chase him up. A surprise, it's Icy in the north in a 5100. And the KV-3 doesn't have quite enough hit points to deal with this, but A. Martin stays on target, gets the Waffentrager.
14 seconds left, and they're starting to lose tanks. 2 tanks remain for the Cunninghams. Now 7 seconds left, and it's all up to Dodoma. Can Dodoma stay alive long enough? Too Good's rounding the corner, looking for a kill, and Dodoma's patiently waiting, and that's it. The Cunninghams are able to do it, barely, with another point on the board.
All right,
So would you classify that as a successful break into the northwest corner, or was the Cunninghams playing for time and trying to elongate the battle?
Success is victory. The Cunninghams won, so that doesn't count. If you win the battle, then you count as having broken that position. Unless you win, because the time it took for them to do this was too long. In order to actually count, you have to achieve that victory, because you can just run in and have incredible trades and then come out behind in the end, and that's not a successful break. That is you broke the defense up there. Yeah, yes, true. You got into their defensive line, but you lost. You weren't able to get forward. Now, if Victoria's Secret had more time, yes, they would have won. But this is a situation where they just fell a little bit short. And
a little bit, but really, really close. And so you have to look at what's the little bit that they need in order to not make this happen again. The Waffentrager hitting the shot, to me, is the biggest thing that could have changed for Victoria's Secret here.
Yeah, that one connection would have changed everything, because if coming around the corner, Waffentrager connects with Dodoma is not alive at the end of the battle in order to take down Disruption, or in order to survive long enough. That is victory, you're right. Just one connected shell is all that needed to happen.
That's why everybody matters on this team. Every shot matters on the battlefield, and we move into battle number 4 on Himmelsdorf. Victoria's Secret has 1 point. Cunninghams riding with 2 so far. Battle number 4. What do we have for tanks?
For tanks, I'm looking at 3 5100s, 2 IS-3s, KV-3, and a T-29 for the Cunninghams. So standard lineup. T-29 for hold down, KV-3 for some reason does hold down too, but works really well too. 3 5100s for Victoria's Secret, 2 IS-3s, Waffentrager, and a T-37. So that Waffle coming in, Disruption in that T-37 again. Okay, they want to stick with it, but I wonder why they love it so much, because the record that Victoria's Secret has in this map isn't, I don't think it's good enough to validate consistently bringing this, unless you think they'll become competent enough in this playstyle to overcome other styles. Do you agree? Do you think that they can? Or if this has a ceiling that's lower?
What, the northwest corner?
No, I'm talking about the strategy from Victoria's Secret. Is this, I feel like it has a ceiling of performance.
Oh, that's a great question, Randall. Honestly, I'd have to assess by seeing where they went through the rest of the season. I mean, is there a ceiling of performance for any of these teams in our league?
Well, I feel like there's more specifically that the ceiling for performance with this flexible lineup that the Cunninghams brings,
yeah,
with those 5100s, IS3s, T29, KV3, against the Waffentrager T37 lineup from Victoria's Secret. I feel like you don't have enough hit points and armor and firepower to take on the Cunninghams in certain situations that would be considered, the clever use of your tanks.
So just if you add up the stats, you take out, a little bit of that RNG and accuracy and stuff, you just add up the stats, then there can be a ceiling. That's a really good point. I would have to bend towards yes, I'll agree with you, but it has to be so circumstantial, case-by-case basis.
Fair enough. I think case-by-case is probably a good way to look at it, because you take this lineup that the Victoria's Secret is bringing right now with that waffle, and you put that against the Cunninghams lineup that they currently bring, and it favors, in my opinion, the Cunninghams. But there are arguments to be made for Victoria's Secret.
There's a first shot that rings true against Victoria's Secret. They hit 2 earlier against A. Martin and Baguk. And they're still not fully committed into enemy territory yet. They're a little bit spread out on the Delta line.
Yeah. And now this looks similar. Remember the last strategy we saw from Victoria's Secret when they tried to break in the south? They stacked up, but now you see M-Pro. Look at the way he's moving to the lower part of the map. He's actually going to go all the way to the south right now. And because of that, we could be seeing some kind of pressure up the 1-2 line, or perhaps all the way up the 1 line, in order to bring in flanking fire into the positions of Baguk, and perhaps to pressure out Dodoma. That's a possibility right now. I'm not sure if we're going to see that. It depends which way M-Pro goes, and if Baguk or Dodoma discover his presence there.
That discovery with that type of scouting is very, very crucial here. At any moment of knowing where the enemy is, and that information can be assessed by not spotting tanks in certain areas here. Shot fire does not connect. Looking for a connection on both sides of the team here, and Victoria's Secret still has only taken a little bit of damage on Carefree's tank. 3 minutes and 13 seconds.
Actually, that's a really important thing that you just pointed out. The hit points taken by Victoria's Secret. They've actually lost very little hit points this battle.
Yep.
So they're managing themselves much better than they have in the past. Instead of taking damage before that engagement, they're avoiding that, hanging to the right angles, staying safe, and the push should be coming momentarily.
Here it comes. Around that corner. There's Too Good. Leading the charge. Carefree right next to him. Oh, fires a shot against Baguk. Does not connect, and now they're in a huge crossfire right now. Dodoma lining up against Carefree. Carefree goes down. Remy tries to fire on the reverse. Too Good is right behind him. He can't get his shot because of the dead tanks in his way, and they continue to fire upon the attackers. Germ and Dodoma take some hits. Looks like some dude got in the mix from behind, but ICJ takes a big hit to the front for 432.
Oh, and a big hit on Commander J. That is from some dude who is off to the east. Kind of cut off in a way. As he's on reload, A. Martin may pressure him, but it looks like he's hesitating. Nope, never mind. And as you look at the hit points, look, the bars up top, Victoria's Secret is falling behind as they're just starting to lose hit points slowly, but it's still dangerous for the Cunninghams. They can't get too aggressive in this counter move, or else they will lose tanks, because everyone's taken a bit of a beating.
Yep.
Everyone's a little beat up. M-Pro is in a dangerous position because of his distance from his opponents. Too Good, Rummy, Icy have enough hit points to shrug off maybe a hit. It depends on who fires.
The Victoria's Secret's attackers take another hit. Too Good almost down for the count. Minute and 42 seconds. Enough time for the attackers to make a move on the remaining tanks from the Cunninghams. Not a whole lot of time to get a flag cap here. Fires on the move. M-Pro takes down 280 hit points on Dodoma's tank. Still left alive, though. M-Pro one shot away from falling himself. There goes another teammate for Victoria's Secret. Still a lot of fight left in this team against the Cunninghams. The final battle on this map.
And now Dodoma finds M-Pro.
And gets the kill.
Forcing Too Good and Rummy forward. They don't have any other options.
Too Good last tank remaining for Victoria's Secret here on Himmelsdorf. And he goes down, and Cunningham's able to seal the deal on Himmelsdorf, 3-1. And we'll move on to Prohorovka for our next bat.
Prohorovka, that's a Cunningham's map if I've ever known one. You've seen some of their clutches on this map.
Yep.
Between multiple players on the team, their understanding of the way it flows. This is going to be difficult for Victoria's Secret. We're looking for what they can bring that's going to surprise us, that's really going to throw us off, because their lineups are a little bit twisted in a way. Just kind of a little bit off.
Don't get it twisted. Around the shot, around the corner. But Guk, I loved how he baits them in a little bit further, at least tries to get the kill against them, but they take so much damage here. And he does not, he does fall here from that, I think that's shot from M-Pro.
Yeah, I did like that they put M-Pro on the west there.
But that's going to force Dodoma to move to the other side of that train station to prepare for that engagement against that 5100 after he takes off to reload. It's kind of almost playing zone, or excuse me, it's playing man.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you find M-Pro a little bit later, wait till you reload, and Dodoma did just that.
Well, Commander J was covering M-Pro from that position because M-Pro was firing into that area.
Yeah.
So he decided instead of focusing on the IS-3s to the south, that he would move and shift his fire to pressure M-Pro out. Because if M-Pro was just left there to do whatever he wanted, you have a situation where it's M-Pro able to absolutely decimate. You can't allow that.
No, you can't. Prohorovka, defenders will be the Cunninghams at the beginning, and they're 2 battles away. This is going to be a really tough fight for Victoria's Secret. Possibility of already here used on either side on Prohorovka. It's a very limited possibility from what we've seen. Now, if this was steps, I would be more expectant to see an Artie piece.
Remember the Cunninghams versus Elevate? Wasn't there an awesome Artie in that one?
A GW Panther?
No, that was Prohorovka, and we saw.
Oh, was it Zoid?
Yeah,
it was Zoid.
Yeah, that was the Zoid Artie.
It was Zoid. Oh, Zoid when he got 5 kills.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think Commander J was on the way and he got the kill. We're waiting to see if he got the tank destroyer mode. What we mean by that in Artie is that when you play an artillery tank or an SPG tank, you have a top-down view of where the shell's going to land. And when you're out of that top-down view, it's more of a kind of a tank destroyer
you only get third person.
Yeah, third-person view, really. And so it's firing at a bit of an aiming disadvantage as Artie, but when you're able to land a shot and in tank destroyer mode, it's pretty cool. It kind of shows a little bit of a lot of the skill and a little bit of the RNG.
It's a lot of the skill, because I know plenty of times where I've actually, I'm dead serious. I've taken Artie into various battles and I've played it TD mode only, and it is tons of fun, especially with the Object 261. And you can become very good at third-person Artie shooting.
Battle number 5 between the Cunninghams. Victoria's Secret's about to begin. We're in the countdown. What do we have for tanks, Randall?
All right, for tanks, I'm looking at 2 T-32s, 1390, 2 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. Now, Cunninghams are on defense with that, so that looks like a solid lineup. Now, Victoria's Secret, this might be a throwback to Simple Tankers' previous seasons. 2 T-69s at 1390, 2 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs. You remove the Walker Bulldogs and RU-251s, you put in 1390s. That is exactly what Simple Tankers used to run. And they would up and over, rush straight at their opponent, just do not stop kind of a situation.
Some dude in Rummy pushing towards the center here. We have a question from Elevate Razor Ryan saying, crazy match is happening. Question, guys, do you think it is better to bring a tier 6 and extra tier 8 or 2 tier 7s? That's a great question, Elevate.
That's
really
such a debate.
Question. And it is a big debate. Honestly, I favor 2 tier 7s rather than 1 tier 8 and 1 tier 6.
I tend to lean that way as well, but only on open maps.
And it's debatable, too, on which maps that you bring as well and what type of strategies you want to unleash. But Guk gets hit.
But I think it isn't debatable on city maps. On Himmelsdorf, I think you bring the tier 7s, 2 of them, every time. On open maps, I do prefer tier 7s, but there is definitely room to make that T-37 do work.
Too Good takes a couple hits for 263, echoing what we said a little bit before to the kind person that sent us the question on Twitter. is that it's a case-by-case basis and that there are very strong arguments on either side.
And it definitely comes down to play style and such. If you have a certain team with a skill set where you have a player who can play at tier 6 and perform very, very well, for example, MacG on Simp, then you can definitely bring it. But if someone isn't going to be able to handle that as well, and it's better to put 2 people in tier 7s anyway, then it works like that.
Germ takes a hit for 256. Remy, you're in trouble.
Big trouble. He is, the crossfire on him is absolutely
But he's
spectacular.
able to dodge. He was able to dodge at least 2 shots there, but he goes down. Germ is the next one that can fall here, and Carefree gets that kill. But look at all these shots, just making pop marks into the ground.
Look at A. Martin. He's taken so much damage. He's down to 23 hit points. The return fire from Victoria's Secret is certainly to be respected, and A. Martin got a little greedy, but he's lucky to be alive right now.
1 takedown for both teams, and Victoria's Secret a little bit further behind when it comes to hit points, but not too far.
Yeah, and A. Martin is so fragile right now. I think that's what's important. The damage spread on Victoria's Secret is much better than that on the Cunninghams. But with Trireme being helpful, there's the possibility the Cunninghams could utilize him in a way that could benefit them. It's all depending on how you play the situation when you're sharing hit points, right? A. Martin, if he can stay alive and his gun is in the game, it doesn't matter how many hit points he takes in damage. But ideally, you want everyone in your team to be able to take 1 more hit before dying, so that it takes 2 shells instead of just 1, so that your opponent has to focus fire and can't afford to do that one-on-one engagement. Or at least can't get it for free.
We can't get it for free. No, you can't. And Victoria's Secret is definitely not giving this away for free. They're making Cunninghams work for it. They're able to bust him down once for a victory here. Cunninghams can't take this lightly at all, especially after A. Martin taking a beating. Movement now to the south. M-Pro, too good, crossing the plains. Looking for a potential target here. Not going to find it initially. And Cunninghams, again, the defender's advantage, can sit and wait for Victoria's Secret to come to them. Fight them on their own terms, on their own turf.
Oh, Trireme is spotted. He doesn't realize. Or, that's not blind fire, is it?
From that, no, he... What?
I'm not getting a
Wait,
spotted indicator.
No, I think you're right, Randall. I think that was blind fire coming from either Disruption or Carefree. It's about 100-something damage.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but he recognizes where a tank is.
Too good and M-Pro were not close enough to spot him, so it might have been a lucky shot. 2 minutes, 50 seconds. Victoria's Secret to attack here. I'm thinking more about that question from Elevate. Razor Ryan, I think it was pronounced. Razor Ryan. Yeah. Of bringing 2 tier 7 T29s to kind of fill that T32 spot, and then the mobility surrounding that type of play.
I'd thought about that as well for the T32s, but what happens is, and I feel like this is especially familiar to me because there was one tournament which was all tier 7s, and the best tank to bring at the time was definitely the T29. It was before you had a lot of other options in tier 7. And there were hills. At T29, when you fight on hilly terrain where you're going to have holddowns, the game that you start playing, by the way, there it goes.
Nice shot from Too Good, taking on Trireme.
Yep. So the situation you run into is you're playing hull down games. And when you're playing a hull down game, any advantage at all completely skews the fight. If you have the high ground and you're firing down at your opponent in T29s, or if you're against a T32, T32 is going to win because he knows where your hatches are. Someone who's good at a T32 was previously being very good at a T29, right?
Yeah.
So if you are fighting a T32 and a T29 and you are fighting at the highest level in this league,
some dude knocked out. A. Martin, I think, maybe got that kill from the north, not expecting him to be in that position. But Bakak gets hit for 917, and here's the push now coming from the south position. A Victoria's Secret cleaning up another tank on the side of the Cunninghams. 1 minute and 10 seconds left for Victoria's Secret to close this. And this is a close match. This is a close battle, at least.
Yeah, this is good. Victoria's Secret is handling this very well. And the Cunninghams are not making the same decisive moves that we've seen in the past.
Number of shots against Militant, but he's able to move at the right time, in the right position to get the kill against Victoria's Secret.
And now Too Good exposed, takes 312 from Militant.
Oh, he's able to have one shot bounce from further away. Another shot from Disruption.
The Jukes.
He can't see him.
That's what happens. Disruption has the camo. Militant doesn't. And Militant, you have to give it to him. Some of those moves, he's timing the shots from Disruption.
Yep. And he's pulling back now. Still about 2. Oh, and look at this angle of his armor. Look at this. Perfect angle against Danger. Fires back for 460, saying, Disruption, get out of my house. Go
And he
home.
was spotted. He finally got spotted by a Martin in the south.
10 seconds left on the
And-
battle clock. Fires back. There goes Disruption. Game over for Disruption. And Victoria's Secret has 3 seconds left to kill all the remaining tanks or get a flag cap. 9 possible. It's over. And Cunninghams takes another battle victory and 1 victory away from taking the series. Still Victoria's Secret making them work for it. But that spread worked very well for Cunninghams.
Certainly did. It's that they were able to hold on and play for time, something which we haven't seen a lot of in previous weeks. Teams taking advantage on defense of time and killing that clock, just burning it down by wasting as much time, staying mobile, setting up in positions that are not what was originally scouted, so your opponent has to kind of rediscover what's going on or something like that. But Victoria's Secret seems wary of taking too much risk, you know?
It's tough because they've had a tough season. They had a tough season last season. So we can understand psychologically where that wariness comes from. They're afraid to make mistakes. And when you keep analyzing your past battles, your past losses, and you keep seeing these mistakes, or these, at the time, they're not labeled mistakes, right? They're choices. And then after you lose, you realize, oh, this was a mistake. Then you start to second guess everything you bring to the table. You start to second guess every call being made by the caller.
But that's worse. That's even worse than taking a risk.
I know. It is.
Yeah.
It is. And you have to break out of that mentality. You have to keep going for it.
Yeah.
And to play your game. You bring that up in such an eloquent way, too. You have to play your game. And I think that's an echo of what Nagatron said from the former Fnatic, is that you have to play your game. And if you understand your individual game as well as a tinker and then your team, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, and you can plan to elevate your strengths to a victory and to guard against your weaknesses as a team.
Was that elevate thing on purpose?
No, it was happenstance when it came to language.
Okay. Well, for tanks, 2 T-32s, 1390, 2 RU-251s, 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs for the Cunninghams for their final defense on Prohorovka. 2 1390s, 3 RU-251s, and 2 M41 Walker Bulldogs for Victoria's Secret.
As we look at the opening run coming from these tankers here, right across the plains, Victoria's Secret again on the attack. Cunningham's on the defense for one more battle. We'll switch if Victoria's Secret is able to get a victory here. And then they will have the defending zone. 2 flag caps.
Oh, Trireme. Trireme. He's the most important one in this battle. We've seen this so many times before. And he is spotted. Lit. Needs to get into cover as soon as possible. He takes 242. If he goes down, that's the Cunningham's advantage gone. They have to then reapproach the situation entirely differently. But if he's able to stay alive for a little while and we get a quick response from the Cunninghams, that's where the Cunninghams are able to win this. But if it takes too long, Trireme's going to die. It's going to be a complete wash.
I really like the aggression and the blitz coming out of Victoria's Secret here, getting into that northern section on the east side of the village as well. And M-Pro and Rummy are heading up towards Trireme. They're going to cut him off.
Where's
291.
the support? Where is the support? There is none from the Cunninghams. Trireme is desperately trying to get into a good spot. He will go down, but where is the response? Carefree's taken a hit. Some dude has taken a hit. That is it. There is so little damage being dealt by the Cunninghams right now. That is a huge mistake. They have left one of their guys to die. I think that should not have happened. The Cunningham should have, as quickly as possible, recognized what they had and taken advantage of it. Every single tank for Victoria's Secret was looking to the northeast. They were not looking west at all. Free damage waiting to happen, and it didn't.
And now Victoria's Secret puts 2 tanks on the flag cap. More tanks on the flag cap, the faster it is captured. However, the max amount of tanks you can have accumulating points towards the flag cap is 3. Anytime a tank is hit that has points accumulating on the flag cap, those points are reset. But it's only based on that one tank's accumulation. So that's why you'll see, you know, if there's only 10 seconds left and one tank gets hit, it's not a complete reset. It's only a reset for that one tank. And if he's only been on there for 5 seconds, then it's only, you know, a couple seconds shaved off.
Exactly. So you have to spread your fire. But there is an interesting kind of thought process behind dealing with a cap rush, in which there are 3 or more tanks on cap. They're all going to accumulate points, right? So you have one group focus fire, and then one group spread fire. Usually it's if you have arty at your disposal, spreading fire is really nice with artillery, so they splash as many things as possible. But if there's a tank like an IS-3 maybe on your team, you tell him, you say you stop cap, you spread damage, or 5100 is a good idea to spread the damage, and then have maybe the IS-3s roll in. Or on an open map like this, RU-251s are a perfect tank for breaking cap because they have excellent HE shells. Absolutely excellent.
3:42 left in the battle. Victoria's Secret. Ansi, anxious, willing, and ready to get another victory here to still stay in the fight. They showed at the beginning with their blitz, and they're trying to hold on to the momentum they have at the opening of this battle. Another tank on the flag cap. Militant 83 is going to poke up a bit. He takes a hit for 154, fires towards disruption, and misses. A. Martin's going to head towards the north side. And now looking through the railroad tracks, Militant is hit again from Carefree.
But he's got a shot. He's
Yeah.
got a view to a kill. Does not make the connection as he hits the train. That's what he's going for. There's a little bit of risk in this. Carefree's going to be able to get free damage, yes. But Militant can fire through the train tracks. And there's the connection, 339 into disruption.
That's big.
That is crucial. Knowing the map knowledge allowed him to do that with taking minimal damage.
I really liked ICJ's position there in the bushes, waiting for Commander J to commit to attack Carefree, but that has not been the case. Commander J is holding position. 38 seconds on that flag cap now.
Real quick to interrupt, timed out. Has 2 against Noble's 4 in their series right now. One more battle and Noble will win. We'll be sure to keep you guys updated on that series as we get more news.
Militant 83 looking for another reset if needed here. Dodoma still staying back in that 1390 along with Germ, playing for the long game.
With 2 minutes left, 84 seconds, Josh. Looks like the Cunninghams are going to be able to delay this a few more times.
Well, a couple more shots on disruption are too good, but they need to hone in those shots here pretty soon. But Guk's taking significant damage, 383 shots fired against him.
Some dude up and over. This is the attack, counterattack from Victoria's Secret.
Oh, look at this. Commander J Dodoma played this so well. They had fallen back away from scouting range, and now some dude and ICJ are going to get lit up. And ICJ is going to be the first target, it looks like, and he goes down. Some dude gets hit for 256. Militant 83 is lining it up. One more shot. Oh, Commander J doesn't close it out. He's going to go for the ram damage and takes down some dude with the kiss of death to the front of the tank.
It really was a kiss, just with the front drive wheel. It was all it took.
A. Martin's about to fall. He goes down. Minute and 14 seconds. 3 tanks left alive for Victoria's Secret. 4 for the Cunninghams. Firing from up north is Commander J. He sees Rummy and he wants to shut him down. Rummy, however, is moving towards the danger, trying to dodge these shots. Long range shot from Commander J to too good. Does not connect.
Could you call it a zone of danger?
You could call it that. With black turtlenecks. Nice shot to the front. Rummy gets hit for 66. Returns fire against Commander J for 327. 355, Commander J wants this kill. Rummy, however, is that hero tank right now, pushing to the north to continue this engagement and to guard his teammates. 110 damage.
He's out of shells now. So whatever Rummy's going for, it's a bit of a wash.
Well, he's got a tank.
Oh, surprise!
And
It's
here
a
comes
distraction.
Empro.
It's a trap. Commander J, he's falling for it. Up and over. Rummy's reloading, but not Empro. So just pull his attention one way.
Commander J waiting for the reload to get the shot. Is able to dodge one shot on Empro. Gets the kill against Rummy. 14 seconds left. It's 2 against 1 now as Empro is able to take down Commander J. 2 more shots and Empro could fall. He is only with 1 shot left. 2 seconds left in the battle. Can he fire back and get a kill? He cannot. Cunninghams takes the series 5-1 against Victoria's Secret.
Well, you got to give it to Victoria's Secret. They were able to take 1 off of them. But Cunninghams, with some mistakes today, was still able to come over. I think they were lucky against this kind of an opponent. If this were against someone else, someone who was like a simp or Arbus kind of a thing, Hammer Time, this would not have been a win for the Cunninghams.
Yeah.
But the Victoria's Secret, with the troubles that they're going through right now, that demoralization, the fact that they have a shrunk roster hurting them, and they just can't get that traction, you know? They haven't been able to really solidify their team and their style.
Yeah.
It's a very, very reasonable situation we're looking at. I have to be honest, I predicted a 5-0 for this, and a 5-1 kind of means a little bit to me for Victoria's Secret.
I think it means a lot, and how closely they came to it being a 5-2 as well. Barely not getting to Doma's shot. I want to further emphasize something here in regards to Victoria's Secret. I know they had a tough time last season with rosters. Not a lot of luck this season with rosters, but something was taught to me a couple years ago that I've always held on to, and it's that the measurement of how professional you are isn't when things are going right. It's when things are going wrong. That's when your true professionalism is tested. And for Victoria's Secret to continue to show up despite the issues they've been having, to put their heart into this match, shows their professionalism, and hopefully good luck can be more in their favor for later on in this season or possibly next season.
Well, it's hard to argue